Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Burnrate Baristas. I'm Sahand,
And I'm Cate.
and today we're talking about burnout.
We are. What a topic.
Yeah.
So we're recording at the end of October, staring our busy season in the face. But burnout is always a topic. I
Should
think.
we actually say what we were gonna call this whole podcast? I don't think we ever.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So we obviously landed on Burnrate baristas, but we definitely considered burned out baristas.
Yeah, jokingly, but not really jokingly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we decided that wouldn't be the best look. But I actually want to start with a question for you. I think,
I'm in the hot seat.
yeah, you're in the hot seat.
Okay.
I mean, look, burnout's always a topic in early stage startups and companies in general in the zeitgeist. But
Sure.
I think, you've got an interesting position as the founder of this brand. And obviously, a lot of founders of,
Yeah.
countless other brands. What's the conversation like amongst founders? And how do you feel about burnout in general?
Yeah, I can speak specifically more so to the e-commerce community, more so than like, I don't know, AI startups
Yeah.
or any other category of startup founders. Within the e-commerce D2C space, I feel like there's kind of this like bifurcated world where you
Okay.
basically have on one side, I would say like upwards of 80-90% of the population of founders are either expressing feeling burnout,
Mhm.
exhibiting symptoms of burnout,
Yeah.
or spending the majority of the time talking about team burnout.
Yeah.
Then there's this other 10 to 20% where I find that it's not that there isn't burnout happening, but they're in such hyper growth mode. Whether it's themselves or their team, they are just so fixated on the next milestone. And
Yeah.
frankly, in an excited way, like in a good way. They're very like pumped up, ready to go, charged. Where you're seeing them really not even almost entertain the conversation because they're just so excited about the next success that they're gonna hit. So it's kind of an interesting world to see how it's split right now.
Yeah.
And I think when you see the symptoms of it, it's it's something where you can certainly feel for those founders because there's so many things that they're experiencing in terms of what are the challenges that are translating to the burnout that you can empathize with. But in reality, I will say even of that 80 to 90% that's expressing burnout, everyone's still trudging forward.
Yeah.
Like everyone's still doing the same thing. They're working hard. They're trying to figure things out. I think that it's just interesting how it manifests and then
Yeah.
interesting how it trickles down to the rest of the team.
Wait, say more about that. Like, what would you view as the symptoms of burnout, particularly with founders?
I mean, it's almost like the like meme cartoon of just like throwing your like hands up and you're like, it's a lot of it is what it is mentality.
Okay.
And it
Okay.
starts with that. It starts with, which is like, it's entirely fine because there are a lot of things that are out of our control, right? So it's about operating with the information you have, the resources you have, and basically working as hard but also efficiently as possible to navigate through turbulent waters. But there are a lot of things that I see, like for example, one of the interesting ones in terms of like conversations with their teams.
Okay.
So I think there are a lot of instances and like there's like this paradigm that I think Ben Horowitz came up with, like between like wartime and peacetime CEOs.
Oh yes.
And so I guess in this instance, I'm speaking specifically to founder CEOs, but
Okay.
I feel like we've just been in wartime for so long because the macro environment keeps shifting underneath our feet.
Yeah.
That I have found a lot of these CEOs are, even if they understand it's important to have connective tissue with their teams, just not even entertaining conversations with their team. I don't even want to have it. I don't even want to talk about it. I don't care what you're feeling. I don't care how you're thinking. Just do the job.
Yeah.
And that's in a certain respect, I understand where they're coming from. It's not inherently intrinsically wrong to just say, just do the job. But the reality of it is, if you want to optimize for outcomes, if you want to drive results, just saying just get the result doesn't necessarily always translate to getting the result.
Yeah.
If anything, making a person feel heard, actually engaging with them, giving airtime to those things, I find does a lot to actually galvanize the team, to motivate them, to want to work harder, to think smarter about how they approach problem solving to drive those results.
Okay.
So in that respect, that's just one example of the kind of like throwing your hands up and like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to say throwing in the towel because it's too dramatic, but in a way it feels like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then how would you think about the differences between burnout and just fatigue, being tired?
Yeah, I split burnout into two buckets if you actually like, want to think about what you're feeling in a moment. Like
Okay.
I think there's physiological fatigue,
Yeah.
which is just long hours, working evenings, weekends, being stressed out through all of that where you just need a breather. Like literally the body itself is just starting to like shut down and you need to take time to just recharge your batteries, whatever that looks like for you, which is very different for different types of
Yeah.
people. I think that is very understandable. And I'm not going to say it's easy to solve. It's certainly not. But I think that there is a clear rubric for that. I
Yeah.
think there is a different type of burnout,
Mm-hmm.
which is more intellectual, more creative. It's
Yeah.
like creative burnout, intellectual burnout, spiritual burnout, where you're feeling beaten down or downtrodden and you just cannot you start that negative self-talk thing and
Yeah.
you can't figure it out. And I
Yeah.
think that's frankly a harder one to deal with because it doesn't also ever allow you space to create perspective for yourself. And I always
Yes.
describe that
Yes.
as like the standing too close to the canvas that I
Uh-huh.
heard that I loved, which is like you need to take a step back. And that's
Yeah.
really hard to do. And I know we were just talking about this for like type A personalities versus
Yeah.
others that just they want to white knuckle their way into the solution. They're
Yes.
like, if
Yes.
it's not going well, like I have to do more. But
Right.
I look at it as those two buckets.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the former is more a little bit of space can go a long way to just relax or do what you find relaxing, creating space for that.
Mm-hmm.
The other, I think, can be really tricky because a lot of times it can be tied to the results of the company. It can be tied
Yeah.
to the results of how the team is working with each other. And I think that feeling of being dejected when it's not working out and you can't figure it out, I think it's like that to me, I think almost hurts a little bit more. And I think can beat someone down, like beat their spirit down more.
Yeah.
But it's not that dissimilar from sports. A lot of times people talk about that, like when you're down in basketball and you're like, okay, like there's limited time on the clock. I feel the pressure. It's like, how do you reset your system to not feel
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm a loser right now? Like that mentality in terms of sports is very similar. It's like you almost have to hack your brain to flip the script. And it's like, I'm not coming at this from a place of weakness or scarcity. I'm coming at this from a place of strength and abundance.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's a good point though. I think different personality types are more or less susceptible to burnout. I mean, we've spoken about that, right?
Yeah.
I think for people like us or other people that are just, ambitious and type A and go-getters or whatever you want to phrase it, we naturally set an almost impossible bar for ourselves.
Yeah.
And then when we can't reach it for whatever reason, our solution is double down, work harder, give more hours, more time, more. And that can contribute. I don't know if it contributes to the fatigue or the burnout. I mean, probably both. Short-term fatigue, long-term burnout. We talk a lot
Yeah, they
about,
probably can metastasize into it.
Yeah, because we talk a lot about meeting the moment and whether or not,
Right.
we and our team have the ability to meet the moment and what it requires. But like, what do you do when the moment stretches into years?
Right. But let me ask you or flip the script
Yeah.
to you. Like, have you felt that type of burnout? How do you feel right now just operating through all of the craziness going on? And then, yeah, historically, has that ever been something that you've had to contend with?
Yeah. Interestingly, I think I have felt more checked out and more burned out when I was more bored. Like I think about
Oh,
a job I
interesting.
had years ago, right, where I was meant to do things in this very specific vertical and I would do it. And then I'd want
Yeah.
to do something else, like let me help out this other team or I have this idea and you're gonna get like a slap on the wrist and like, hey, stay in your lane sort of a thing. And, just not being given any context as to what I was doing. And to me, like that makes me apathetic, bored, checked out. When I'm like that, I don't do my best work. And I think it is, to a certain extent, a personality thing, whether you can thrive in this kind of world. Like, I like being busy. It does get overkill sometimes, but I think about my life, like between work and parenting, like every minute of my life is accounted for.
Yeah.
You know, if I have like 15 minutes to read a book and have a bowl of cereal, it's like, cool, I'm revitalized,
Yeah.
right? But
I mean,
I,
that's actually interesting because what does that look like for you? Because actually, every time that some tectonic plate has shifted underneath our feet and we've had to deal with some crazy thing, I've actually never felt that you've been so inundated that you're just like knocked into paralysis. If anything, you get
yeah,
even more into go mode.
yeah, yeah,
But
but
is it taxing on your system or it's not? It's actually the opposite. It's the more taxing one. It's the stagnation.
yeah, I think the stagnation is more taxing. And it's, you know, it's funny, like I have a sister and we're very different in this way. And she once told me, like, Kate, you need to learn how to sit still and just like
Yeah.
be there and
Yeah.
feeling with your thoughts. And for years I thought, oh God, this is like a personality flaw that I can't just kind of, you
Yeah.
know, and chill. And then I
What was the
realized,
one person we interviewed that was like, she said, like, yeah, like the leisure life wasn't meant for me. And
yeah,
both you and I looked at each other and we're like,
yeah,
yeah.
relatable. No, so then I, you know, for years I thought this was like a personality flaw. And then at some point I was just like, you know what, fuck it. Like, I'm
Yeah.
just gonna roll with this. Like, this is
Yeah.
the way I am. And you're right. And I think, yeah, nothing that's happened in my time here has shifted me into this state of either super high stress or paralysis.
Yeah.
Um,
But what does recharging your batteries look like then? So if it's go, 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 then you're saying like, you're not good at sitting still. Like you're
no,
not on some beach in Mallorca just eating
no.
grapes. Like what does that actually look like for you?
I don't know.
Fair. Okay.
no, I really don't know. I mean, I started playing tennis this year, so now I play
Yeah.
tennis like 2 hours a week, and a lot of weeks I don't because something
Yeah.
else comes up.
Right.
I don't know what recharging my batteries looks like because I do have a very high capacity for stress and a very
Yeah.
high capacity for action.
Do you just see it as a challenge?
I do.
Yeah. It's like a
Yeah,
puzzle.
I do. But that makes it really difficult, especially when it comes to managing people,
Mm.
right? Like we've had a lot of conversations over the years and I vacillate between like wanting to shield my team from everything because I don't want them to get burned out versus like, let me loop them into everything because that's what I would want. And that
Yeah.
could be its own type of burnout,
Yeah.
right? And I don't know what the answer is. I don't have a solution here.
Yeah, I mean, a question that comes to mind is just like, does that mean like you optimize for hiring for people that thrive in that type of environment? Does that become monolithic in the types of personalities you end up hiring for? Like, would you approach that differently? And that's obviously
Yeah.
not to say that weren't great people that came through this organization, just out of curiosity. I think one of the things we talk a lot about is that, you know, the whole meeting the moment, or said differently, like, this is a startup. Nothing existed here if you rewind the clock 7 years ago. So we are trying to do inherently
Yeah.
challenging, nearly
Yeah.
delusional things to
Yeah.
take on multi-billion-dollar incumbents. I know it is a tall order in
Mhm.
terms of the expectation and frankly the need of what we need the team to be doing.
Yeah.
Does that just mean you optimize the hiring process for people that thrive in that kind of, dare I say, volatility?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least at this point, you know, because I think about just the different incentives, right? Like you think about a founder and a CEO, right? Typically the
Sure.
incentive for the company to succeed
Yeah.
is way different than the incentive for any of the other team members.
Yeah.
And that's as it should be, you know. There's
Yeah.
like I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but absent that like massive incentive or massive tailwinds or massive extrinsic motivation, like you just kind of have to find people that just have that within them,
Yeah.
right? Because and it's hard to find because I think a lot of people can be very excited when you know you're getting a lot of accolades externally or maybe you just got a huge round of funding or whatever it is, like that
Yeah.
that'll galvanize anybody.
Yeah.
But who is gonna bring that same level of energy to the table
Yeah.
when the press is silent, money's tight, you
Yeah.
don't necessarily have the promise of this massive payout?
Yeah.
It's a very specific type.
Yeah. It's somebody that wants to be playing a role in making that the
Right.
reality, not necessarily just receiving it that it's
Right.
there.
Right. And I think that same thing, right? Like, okay, so you have this opportunity ahead of you to create something that doesn't exist, right? To have a huge impact on the way an entire business and culture and community is run. To some people,
Yeah.
that's the most exciting thing in the world. And to some people, that's the most overwhelming like sense of responsibility and foreboding. And they just can't see how they can possibly do it.
I'm gonna ask you a question if you feel like this has any, I guess, causal relationship with the similarity from a
Hmm.
personality standpoint. So for me, a big part of like what shaped me was the sports that I played.
Yeah.
So I I feel like there was inherently this, you have to, work, like you have to put in the work to get to the other side, and that's
Yeah.
something I think that gets echoed by pretty much every star athlete, is about the amount of grit and perseverance and resilience that they have through practices, through training. When anyone else is going out, they're
Hmm.
being thoughtful about intentional practice to nail down an exact skill or what have you, or the time that they just spend in the gym. Like I I think that we come from similar worlds where there's a bit of that intensity. I don't know if
Yeah.
that, again, like it's a hypothesis here, but like that shaped me a lot.
Hmm.
And then yes, sometimes it does translate to trying to white knuckle your way through problems and be like, I can just work harder to figure this out.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, do you think that like that has a through line for you in your personal story about like, okay, the perseverance side for me was cultivated out of, you were a trainer, you were doing all of these
Hmm.
things, like, or is that just another symptom of just who you are as a person, that you're attracted to that world?
I think it's a little of both. I think about my earlier life. I was in a very academically rigorous school. I always played sports. I was the president of like 15 different clubs.
Of course you were.
But
Yeah.
that's just the way I was. Like I think about even before that time, right? Like I was the kid with the lemonade stand or getting the popsicles and selling them off the back of a wagon or walking dogs. I opened a nail salon in my mom's front yard when I was
Did you
9.
really?
I did.
You
You
opened a
know,
nail salon in the front yard?
yes. It was called the Goddess Boutique. Um,
Crushed in Staten
I read a
Island.
book about Greek goddesses and got inspired.
Kind of toehold on the Staten Island market.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I was the older sister,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
it was my job to come up with the ideas and tell everybody else what we were going to do that day. And I just ran with it. I've been like this for as long as I can remember, for better or for
Oh, that's
worse.
interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I was not only the younger brother. So you had a sister and you're the
Hmm.
older sister. I had a brother and I'm the younger brother. But I was also the youngest of like 20 cousins.
Interesting. Okay.
So like I would like I'm sure I'm getting the exact number wrong, but like it's like that big of a family where there
Yeah.
was all these cousins, all the ones that grew up together. There's been kind of like a new batch.
Yeah.
But of all the ones that grew up together, like I was the youngest of all of them.
Wow.
And I don't know if that also like put a, like, I don't want to even say chip on the shoulder, but maybe a little bit,
Yeah,
like
you had
something to
something to
prove,
prove.
like,
Yeah.
but that competitive spirit where I'm like, I'm not gonna play the small one in
Yes.
the family. Like I'm
Yes.
not, if anything, like I don't want to ever look at myself that way. Why would I? It's your own
Right.
life, it's your own story. Why would you ever look at yourself as a supporting cast member?
Yep.
Like I think like just being the smallest one, both in age and stature by far, like I was like, I think I just want to prove that I can, outpace everybody.
Yeah.
And it was honestly like it continued through my entire time of high school, college. Like I think the competitive spirit is like why I love an underdog story. Like I
Yeah.
love an underdog story.
Yeah.
Remember the Titans? Come on. But yeah, I think that has a huge impact on how I bring myself
Hmm.
to work every day.
Yeah.
And to maybe bring it back to our original topic here, before we go too deep down the family tree, is like on the burnout topic, for how I feel about it personally, there are certain things that definitely, you know, empty the cup, and there are
Yeah.
things that fill up the cup. Every time we launch a new product, launch a new business model, get a good review, get like a press, like those things get me so excited. But
Yeah.
sometimes it's not even just like the external stuff. It's really like our first designs that we draft of
Oh,
something, like the
yeah.
first time you see an in situ or in situation render of something, the first ad you come up with, the first
Hmm.
copy you play with, like those things are so exciting to me
Yeah.
and get me so, just like the adrenaline starts coursing through my veins where I'm like, everything starts becoming so real.
Yeah.
And it's just more and more of this mentality of like, you get to create your version of the future. And also you get to just create beautiful, well-functioning products
Yeah.
that people are going to love. Like I still get chills when I
Yes.
see one of our machines randomly in the wild that I
The
don't know who this person
best.
is, and I'm just like, it's
Yeah.
just here. Like
Yeah.
that to me is so motivating. But there is, you know, there's so many things that we deal with that I'm like, yeah, this is the noise around it that you have to deal with if you want to run a
Yeah.
company. Like, it comes with the territory. Like, there's no unbroken boulevard of green lights. You're gonna have to deal with tough things, but all in pursuit of getting to create amazing
Right.
products. And I think for me, that's why, even having gone through so many crazy things, I've actually felt more energized now than I think I've ever felt towards the company. Because
Hmm.
again, depends on when we're posting this, like the things we've recently launched as well as the things we're going to be launching, it's just so much coming out that I cannot wait for the world to see. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, this is special that I get to
Yeah.
do this every day. This is, I don't want to like, I don't want to not appreciate and express gratitude towards how lucky I feel like I am that I get to do this. And then
Right.
I'm like, yeah, like let's just keep making awesome things and
Right.
great products and serve customers well. But that's where I'm at personally. I already gather that you're in a, I guess, and let me not ascribe any position to you. Like, I guess you would feel like, from a burnout perspective, where do you stand right now?
Yeah. I mean, I still can't believe I get to do this. I know
Yeah.
so much of what you just said resonates so deeply with me. Like I know so many people that are counting down the years till they can retire,
Yeah.
and they're starting counting when they're in like their mid 30s.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh God, thank God I have a pension, or oh God, thank God I have this like trip coming up. And I am not burned out on a soul level.
Yeah.
I'm tired. I think I'm tired on a
Back to
physiological
the
level.
fatigue, the physical
Yeah,
fatigue.
but I think I can see the difference, right? Like I'm
Maybe chill out on the
tired.
walking pad for every meeting.
No, I think I'm tired. Like there's just like certain things. Like to me, time is the most precious commodity. My
Yeah.
commute drives me crazy because I'm like, I just don't have the extra 3 or 4 hours a day to spare. And
Yeah.
it like annoys me.
Yeah.
Wasted time annoys me.
Do you want to share what your commute
Yeah,
is?
it's like an hour and a half to 2 hours each way. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
it's a lot, and so that annoys me.
Yeah.
But it's like the shine of this being my life has not worn off.
Yeah.
I feel like a child sometimes. Like I joke, I'm like, oh my God, I'm a teen mom. I'm not, but it's true.
Yeah.
Like I can't believe that this is what I get to do, right? That I get to play a huge role in making products that people love.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
And I get paid to do that?
Yeah.
That's wild to me.
Yeah.
This like child me would be so excited to know that this is where I've ended up at this point.
Yeah. I think it's like the expression of like, is it Benjamin Franklin? I'm probably going to misquote this, but it's like a lot of men die when they're 25 and wait until 75 to be buried.
Yeah.
Man or woman. Like, it's just like, even when you deal with challenges, like if you do take a step back and like put perspective in it, like one, you're learning a ton, and two, you get to solve hard problems. Like yes, like it depends on everyone's risk tolerance, and there's undoubtedly like responsibilities we all have. You have a family and everything, so it's it adds a layer of understandable stress to make sure that things are running smoothly. But candidly, like the fact that we get to do this every day, I'm like, yeah. I can't say anything other than I feel alive and I feel grateful. All right, everyone, that concludes today's episode. Thanks for watching.
See you soon.